Most spiritual traditions are concerned with exiting the matrix, going 5D, going to some nearby constellations like Pleiades or Arcturus or Sirius or so on, in our local galactic quadrant to escape the lunar matrix. And that's primarily the New Age spirituality. Then we have more established religions which speak of God, the judge, and or the Hindu tradition of Shiva, Brahman, and Vishnu. Now, there are only a few higher paths that can lead to ParBrahma. And essentially, this is we may say, a minimum benchmark where your soul should go. Because once your soul clears the karma in the lower universe of Brahmanda, and once it ascends to ParBrahmanda, the ParBrahm is the Lord of 700 quadrillion higher universes, and they do not have the negative polarity. They're not made by Lord Brahm or Kal Niranjan. So ParBrahmanda universes, we may say, are much, much better places. And the soul is no longer trapped. It's no longer fooled and forcefully brought into the cycles of duality. This is why Kal is often referred as unjust. And this is from the perspective of Satpurush and Kabir, who spoke of it very clearly, because this is in the context of the worlds that Lord Brahm has created. Because from his perspective, from Lord Brahm's perspective, he is fair and just because he demands an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. He says that there is a law of karma, and whatever you will do, there will be a reaction. So if you do good things, there will be good reactions. If you do bad things, there will be bad causes and effects. So he's right about that, because that's how this universe functions. However, he doesn't tell you how to become free. He said, do good and you will go to heaven. That's the Christian religion, Islamic as well. And most of the Hindu traditions, they say, do good and you will become liberated. But the question is where? What is true liberation? So from his eyes, he is just because he made the rules of virtues and sins. So, of course, if you behave, you will live better as a soul in his creation. If you misbehave, it's just gonna get worse. That's for sure. So he is a lawgiver, but from the eyes of Satpurush and Kabir, he is extremely, monstrously unjust because he doesn't want the souls to be free. He doesn't want to give the real freedom to anyone. So, in a way, the mind, I'm not only speaking about the birth of the universe, the creation of the universe, but this is also the creation of the mind. So the mind that all of you have, it is not your mind. You're only a receiver. Your crown chakra and third eye and so on, all your chakras are only receivers of the consciousness of the mind. But the universal mind is Lord Brahm or Kal. So the mind is made by Kal. And your soul itself, its origin is Satpurush, is the divine origin. So therefore, whatever you learn in the mind, the knowledge you get, and so on, it's only temporary. But that what goes into your soul, that is much more important. So here we have a good overview how this universe came into existence. It came into existence when Lord Brahm was expelled from the divine. And then with goddess Durga, they decided to proceed and create their own Brahmandas. And this was also the birth of the mind, because this is how Lord Brahm assures his control. So, in other words, also Maya, the illusion, is part of the nature of Durga to veil, to conceal as her negative aspect. But as her positive aspect, she is motherly, she cares for the souls, she comforts them to a certain extent, let's put it this way. To the extent that the soul can only reach the top of Brahmanda or Brahma Jyoti as a maximum region. So we may see that Lord Brahm and Durga, they're like a father and mother who are not evil, but they're not good either, because they have both. They have good and they have love and care, but they have also bad. They don't want souls to leave. They make traps. They make trouble. It's their creation. So this is essentially what we are dealing with in this universe. There's no 5D. 5D is a under region. Pinda is the whole biophysical stuff. It's the whole universe. There are many more universes with all the galaxies and billions and planets. So taking a starship and going to live on Mars is not any freedom at all. Escaping the matrix into 5D, well, is just another planet in our constellation, like Pleiades and so on. Ascending to 5D, it's just the same thing. I mean, it's a bit less control, but still matrix. It's 5D matrix. 6D, very similarly. 7D as well, 8D, 9D. 9D is already more of the top of Brahmanda. And then that blissful light, which is most common, enlightenment, Brahma Jyoti, is the final destination of many yogis, but that is the brightness of Lord Brahm. That is his light. This is his essence. And he doesn't want anybody to leave that. So he will tell that I am the ultimate. I am the absolute self, absolute truth. I am the absolute Shiva, or whatever words will be relevant for you to hear. That's what he will tell you. And of course, it's a blissful place. So who knows? Bliss is bliss, isn't it? Looks good, feels good, must be good. This is a brief story how the universe was created, how the mind was created, what is the mind in its essence, and where all the troubles originated, where all the troubles, their own life and previous life, all those troubles of regular life, duality, they have their origin. And this is a big story of how it came to be. In a Gnostic tradition, which originates more from the Western ancient times, actually, because Gnostics originate from the mystery schools of the West. So the mystery schools of the East are the yogic lineages, and the mystery schools of the West are, for example, the Essenes and Kabbalah and so on. But let's say the one that has the biggest, highest overview is called Gnosticism. And they speak of a similar story, but in their story, they speak of, we may say, a divine being, Sophia, how she witnessing the creation of other creator gods. She wanted to create her own offspring. She didn't get the permission to do it, but she still gave birth. And when she gave birth, she was horrified that it was a miscreation. And this being who came out was known as Yaldabaoth. And the Yaldabaoth Seeing himself, he was very upset. He understood that he's expelled, that he cannot go to the divine region, and he decided to create his own material creation in the same way as Lord Brahm. And then he made his minions called archons to assist him. The same way the archons and the angels. This is more of a much deeper Christian tradition, and they both take care of the evil deeds and the good deeds. A similar story, just slightly different framework, but the essence is the same. And this is why we then have a broad overview of what's really going on and why all these Egyptian gods were fighting with each other and making all trouble to each other, and Greek gods were fighting with each other, and there wasn't a time of peace and rest, and troubles around the corner all the time, because they were dealing with the Greek and Egyptian gods. Even on a lower level, they were dealing mainly with Anda and Pindamatis. They're the lower regional gods of our local area. So this is some of the essential knowledge, because with this knowledge, you may then begin to understand all religions and what they talk about and where they assist souls to go. And the same way in spirituality, whether it's New Age, whether it's yogic traditions, they promise liberation, moksha, but if they don't speak precisely what is that, what is moksha, what is liberation, how high you will be liberated. And if they say just, oh, you will just get liberated into the absolute divine and pure, and that's it, well, everybody speaks about that, and this is what everybody wants to hear. Give me the easy way, isn't it? Don't tell me complicated stuff. Just tell me that if I do this and this, I will be free. That's all I need to know. Let's keep it simple. And they say, okay, we will help you to become liberated from physical reincarnation. And then you have astral life, isn't it? Okay, well, astral too. Then you have etheric life. Then you have your other higher dimensional lives. And probably this is already too far out for most minds to comprehend. Well, if somebody says the heaven, ether, it's gonna be good enough for me, isn't it? As long as I will meet all my loved ones on the other side, I think I'll go to heaven. Yes, the Eastern people are a bit more intelligent than the Western people from this perspective, because they say, no, 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 no. I want liberation, moksha. And okay, Lord Brahm or Brahman and Vishnu, they say, well, let's give some more work to do. Become a virtuous yogi, do your tapas, proceed with your austerities, renounce the material world because you know you're already smart. It's not going to work for you. Become austeric, release all attachments to materialism, and you will attain the non-dual atmic wisdom. You will become one with Lord Brahm, and you will attain the atmic wisdom. You will become the absolute consciousness above all creation, beyond all duality. Well, that sounds much bigger deal, and that sounds good enough for 99% of yogis and gurus to achieve, because, well, that's the most supreme atmic wisdom. And they speak that your soul becomes free from duality. So, yes, it does attain a certain freedom from the lower creational duality, but these souls then are kept in the grip of Lord Brahm, and he sends them in the upper regions of Brahmandas, still under his rule. That's what's going on. How did it come to me, if you will ask? It also came by surprise, because when I was traversing these regions, reaching universal consciousness seemed like a big deal. And the mind was, wow, This is consciousness of the whole universe. And everything I want to know, I can know. Or I can just download it. And okay, if I want to understand this, I make my intention and it just comes. Of course, with some practice and some work. But then something within me always nudged. No, 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 we're not staying here. We are moving forward. And then as time went by, witnessing the nature of awareness, the nature of universe, all of it, and all the dimensions and gods and goddesses, it always fascinated me, the topic of gods and goddesses. And some time ago, I was reading, oh, wow, wow, Shiva and Brahman and Vishnu. I could unite myself with Shiva consciousness and witness how wonderful and great he is, and the love of Vishnu, devotion of Vishnu, and the Brahman knowledge of the universe, of creation itself is vast. Of course, it is. But when I moved past them, and then the soul has ascended very fast, all these higher, much higher truths came into vision, into perspective. The ParBrahmanda, which is like millions and millions of times vaster than the Brahmanda. And then entering the divine is incomprehensible comparing to the light of Brahm. From the eyes of divine, the whole universal consciousness, which seems to be infinite, vast, and so on, it looks like a speck of dust of light in comparison to the brightness of the true divine. This is how much brighter, vaster, bigger is the true God Supreme, where the light of this universe, Brahmanda, universal consciousness, is like a speck of a dust in the vastness and infinite, truly infinite light. Therefore, I became disillusioned from the knowledge of the universe and this universe, then coming to fully comprehend the nature of these gods and goddesses, what they truly do, their goods and the bads, their beautiful sides and their dark sides, their secrets. However, coming to ParBrahmanda and ultimately divine is a much bigger freedom for your soul. And that's why also the Satpurush ensures that there is always a Satguru everywhere on earth, on many other planets. Wherever the souls are, there is a Sadguru to help them go back up. We can only comprehend our human history, but how other billions of other galaxies and their systems in physical and astral, etheric, and so on. So Sadgurus are everywhere, and that's what Satpurush can do for the souls that have grown up and matured, that there is a way back home. And that is his insurance. That no matter what Kal does, there is insurance. That those who truly want to go back home, they can. There is a way. So this is a very vast divine perspective. It's not even cosmic perspective. It's not a universal perspective. It's divine perspective.